We are now just under 2 hours away from a vigil at Washington High School in Somerset County for a family of 8 accidentally killed by carbon monoxide poisoning. You'll recall Princess Anne police found Rodney Todd and his 7 children dead inside their home on Antioch Avenue. Police Chief Scott Keller says the kids, 5 girls and 2 boys, appeared to be sleeping in their beds. Police say the home had no electricity. Instead, a generator had been placed inside the kitchen and was being used as their source of power. When police arrived at the home Monday, they say the generator was in the on position, but it was no longer running. On Tuesday, the chief medical examiner's office in Baltimore ruled all 8 deaths accidental.
And in Delaware, 2 teenage boys continue to fight for their lives after they may have been exposed to a harmful pesticide.
Steve and Dr. Teresa Esmond's 2 teenage boys are still in critical condition at this hour. Both parents were treated and they have been released.
Steve was unable to speak and Teresa suffered seizures after investigators say they were exposed to a potentially lethal pesticide on their trip to the U.S. Virgin Islands. Reporter Sarah Ganem has the details.
A trip to paradise turned nightmare. A family of 4 now fighting for their lives. Authorities are investigating whether they may have been poisoned while staying at this hotel on St. John in the U.S. Virgin Islands. 2 boys, ages 14 and 16, are in comas, in critical condition, after traces of methyl bromide, a gas compound commonly used in pesticides, were found in their villa at the Siranusa Resort. The family fell ill after the unit directly below them was fumigated. The EPA banned the use of methyl bromide indoors in the U.S. because of its acute toxicity. Seaglass Vacations, which rents out some of the resort units, told CNN the pest control company Terminix had fumigated the lower unit on March 18th, right in the middle of the family's stay. The family's lawyer, James Marin, compared the chemical to sarin gas, a deadly substance used in chemical warfare. The U.S. Department of Justice has now opened a criminal investigation. The EPA is monitoring air and environmental samples and working with local authorities to figure out what happened. Terminix told CNN in an email that it is, quote, committed to performing all work in a manner that is safe for our customers, employees, the public, and the environment. And it is looking into this matter internally and cooperating with authorities. We are thinking about the family and we join the community in wishing them a speedy recovery. Methyl bromide is odorless, causes injury to the lung and nervous system, and could be fatal if inhaled. After the fumigation, the father, Steve Esmond, was found in a coma. The boys and their mother were having severe seizures, according to their attorney. The parents' condition improved after the family was airlifted back to the mainland United States. The mom, Teresa, was released from the hospital. The father, Steve, is now conscious but unable to talk. An EPA spokeswoman told CNN the agency is actively working to determine how this happened and will make sure steps are taken to prevent this from happening to others at these vacation apartments or elsewhere.
Another thing you can't see, touch, smell, or taste in your home, radon.
But the naturally occurring gas can be found in all 50 states and could seep into your home.
Radon is the 2nd leading cause of lung cancer in the U.S., and 22,000 people die from the poison each year. The natural gas is found in the ground, but as it rises, it can penetrate the cracks and crevices in your home's foundation or basement walls.
It's a lighter than air gas, so it floats. So you're putting helium-type gas, for example, under your home, pumping it under your home, it's going to find its way in. So you can seal it, but you can't seal everything.
One thing experts advise is your home's radon number. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, that number should be under 4 PCLs. Don't know your number?
As a homeowner, you should know the radon level of the home before you even move in. You can test it by hiring a professional or by doing it yourself by buying a kit online at your local hardware store. They range in price anywhere from $15 to $25.
If your number is 4 PCL or higher, you need to reduce it.
Some people think that sealing the cracks will be a good mitigation of the radon. That might be part of the process, but it's not the whole process. It'll be important to hire a professional to do the project correctly.
In a house such as this, which is older, there's no drain tiles, there's no sump pit, so we know it's going to be packed dirt, rock, stone, clay, and it's going to require a higher pressure fan instead of a higher volume fan.
The fan is a key component of that system, and it's going to run all the time. So you want to know what the life expectancy and the warranty is on that fan.
Now, Angie adds that you can expect to pay from $800 to $1,500 depending on the size of your home.
A small price to pay when talking about saving a life. So those are a few hidden or invisible dangers, but we really are just scratching the surface. Here to tell us what other dangers are lurking in our homes is Tammy Griffin, Public Information Officer with the Wicomico Health Department. Thanks for joining us this afternoon, Tammy. Okay, so let's go back to the tragic case in Princess Anne with the father and his children. What precautions can we take away from that?
So I think something that's really important for homeowners to remember is having a carbon monoxide detector. That's probably the #1 thing that we can do to catch carbon monoxide if we're being exposed, potentially being exposed to it. So having that alarm is really important. I know myself, I have one in my home and it's gone off a few times just from having our gas burner just tweaked a little bit where it was coming through. So having that alarm is really, really important. It's a critical element. Another thing that's going to be important is making sure any of those fuel burning devices or appliances in your home are properly ventilated and maintained. And then also being aware of the signs and symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning so you know what to do if you think someone's been exposed.
So what kind of things should we look for?
So in terms of signs and symptoms, you would want to look for somebody may have potentially have a headache. They may feel dizzy, feel weak, nausea, vomiting, potentially could be unconscious, and the response is to immediately you want to call 911 right away. If you can get the person outside into fresh air, that will help the body begin to recover almost immediately.
All right, so we just learned about radon, another invisible gas that could be in our homes. Is that a problem here on Delmarva?
Right, so what we know nationwide is that about 1 in 15 homes have an elevated risk for radon. Here on Delmarva, we're sort of at a lower risk comparatively speaking to the rest of the state of Maryland. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't take really important safety precautions. So having your home tested for radon can sort of, just make and ensure that you're safe and you're protected from it. And if there are certain precautions that you need to take if your radon levels are higher, you can do so. Kits are not very expensive. You can get them online or at your local hardware store, or you can also hire a qualified tester to come in and test your home for you.
Okay, so we heard about the family. They were on vacation and exposed to pesticides. We use pesticides. We use pesticides in our house. What should we know here and pay attention to?
Well, I think it's not just pesticides. It's also household chemicals and cleaning products.
Okay.
It's important to, two important things. One is to make sure you read and understand the label of the product that you're purchasing, the product that you have in your home. And then the other thing is to make sure that proper storage. Store that product in a place that is not easily accessible to children, to pets, or in a place that's going to cause harm to the environment. And another thing is you can consider utilizing organic or green pesticides. You can sort of make your own, for indoor plants, you can make your own pesticide out of things like garlic, onions, cayenne pepper with a little bit of soap and spray that underneath the leaves, and that's sort of an organic option. As far as cleaning, you can use vinegar and lemon, fresh lemon.
Right.
So there's organic alternatives, I think, to sort of these highly toxic chemicals that we're bringing into our homes.
Now, let's talk about some more hidden dangers. Mold.
Yep.
We don't think about that, do we?
Right, so I know here on Delmarva, we probably have, because we're in the area where there's a lot more moisture, we may have more of that in our homes. But something to think about in terms of mold is just prevention measures. We want to reduce the level of humidity, particularly in the areas and rooms in the home where there's high moisture, like in the kitchens, in the bathrooms, possibly in the basements. And you can do that by having a dehumidifier in your home, and also making sure that you have proper ventilations, like using an oscillating fan when you're in the bathroom, turning the fan on, just keeping that air moving.
Now, along with the mold problem, there's also pollution problems inside our homes.
Right, so according to the EPA, the indoor air pollution is actually 3 times worse than outdoor air pollution. So what we can do in our home, and now's a good time, we're coming into spring, nice good spring cleaning. We're coming up on some warm weather here coming in the next few days. So just open up those windows, get the air moving, make sure get your carpets cleaned, get your shades and your blinds and your drapes. Get all the dust and the pet dander out of your home as much as possible, because that sort of increases the chance of if you are could potentially have an asthma reaction or allergy reactions.
Okay.
So.
All right, so you mentioned some signs of carbon monoxide poisoning, but what are some signs of other poisonings that we really need to be on the alert for?
Sure, so something that you could, if you were to come upon somebody who may have potentially been exposed to a poison, one thing you might want to look for is redness around the mouth or burns. They may have the smell of chemicals coming from their mouth if they've ingested something that they shouldn't have ingested. Again, nausea, vomiting, weakness, dizziness, just sort of potentially unconscious, just kind of not knowing where they are. And just being and knowing how to respond to that is critical in saving someone's life.
Call 911 if
yep.
you see any of that.
Yep.
All right, thank you
Yep.
so much.
Thank you, Tammy.
Very good information. And for more information on these invisible dangers or the Wycomico Health Department, go to our website, wboc.com. Click on our picture at the top of the page.
From your family's safety to your children's security, financial security still ahead. We're going to learn when and how to speak with your kids about money, what experts say really works, and a tool you can use to help not only your kids better understand, but you too.
Well, you want to be sure they value both their cash and yours, but do you actually know the value of the money in your own pocket? After the break, we learn how to spot valuable coins and which things are most important when it comes to cashing them in. Delmarva Life, we'll be right back.